Welcome to the last part of our deep dive video analysis of Visa. I hope you guys have watched and enjoyed parts 1, 2, and 3 and are eager to learn some more. In this video, we are going to compare Visa to its competition and we will see how well it does against the likes of MasterCard, UnionPay, Discover, Capital One, PayPal, and American Express. Out of all these companies, MasterCard is the closest competitor to Visa. Now, looking at the global market share distribution for purchase transactions, we see that Visa leads the pack at 40% market share, followed by a private Chinese company called UnionPay, coming in at 32% market share. And then MasterCard comes in at 24% market share, and everyone else 4%. And by everyone else, I mean American Express, PayPal, Discover, and the like. Now, it is worth noting that UnionPay is a private Chinese company which enjoys 93% market share in China, but only 1% share of the global market. So it is big in China, coming in at 93% market share, but is very small outside of China, only 1% market share of the global market. So if we take that into consideration and exclude China out of the equation, Visa actually has about 60% market share of the international payments transaction, clearly a market leader. Now, in terms of the size of the company, Visa is the biggest and the most valuable at $474 billion, followed by MasterCard at $344 billion. Third, $118 billion is American Express, and PayPal comes in fourth place at a value of $85 billion. Visa still leading the pack. Now, let's compare Visa to MasterCard. Now, Visa and MasterCard are quite similar. They offer similar products and services, only that MasterCard offers those products and services under their own different brand, like MasterCard, Maestro, and Cirrus. Looking at their revenue, we can see that Visa has carried higher revenue than MasterCard. Visa has got higher net income than MasterCard, higher gross profit margin than MasterCard, and Visa's net profit margin is higher than that of MasterCard. So clearly, Visa is a bigger business, generating higher revenues and higher profits than MasterCard, but MasterCard has got a much, much higher return on equity than Visa, which indicates that they are more effective in turning shareholder money into profits. But in this regard, all in all, Visa is clearly in the lead versus MasterCard. Now, comparing Visa to American Express. Now, American Express is a different animal altogether. In reality, American Express is a credit card company because it issues its own cards, it provides payment services directly, and it gets its revenue from higher spending per transaction. American Express is a niche player as it targets the wealthy people, as opposed to Visa and MasterCard, who target the mass market. Now, one of the negative things about American Express is that even though it generates high revenues, they have lower margins, and since they provide credit directly to consumers, they also take credit risk directly. So if customers default, they take a hit directly. And for us as investors, that is not an attractive prospect. So like I said earlier on, if you look at revenue, you will see that American Express has got higher revenue than Visa, but their net income is much lower than that of Visa. Their gross profit margins are also lower than that of Visa, and their net profit margins are also much lower than that of Visa. So what's the point of generating such high revenues but end up with such small profits? It makes no business sense. So that is why, to me, American Express is not an attractive prospect. Their return on equity are quite comparable. So clearly Visa wins this round. Looking at PayPal, PayPal is another niche player. It offers alternative digital payment solutions to merchants and consumers. It also acts as a payment gateway for Visa, as they are part of the Visa Digital Enablement Program to expand point of sales. So here, in this regard, Visa and PayPal are actually partners rather than competitors because they work together, they collaborate together. So looking at revenue, we can see that PayPal and Visa, they've got comparable revenues, but then again, PayPal has got much, much smaller profits compared to Visa. And they also got lower gross profit margin and lower net profit margins compared to Visa. And PayPal's return on equity is also much lower than that of Visa. So clearly Visa a leader here as well. Now, I like to compare the share price performance of these companies, Visa, MasterCard, and American Express. You can see that MasterCard is in the lead, followed by Visa, and in third place, American Express. Now, one of the reasons why MasterCard is in the lead in terms of share price performance is that MasterCard is a slightly smaller company than Visa. Therefore, they've got more room to grow more rapidly. That is why their share price is much higher and is growing much faster than that of Visa. Now, taking the same trend and adding PayPal, you can see that in the recent past, MasterCard is still number one, followed by Visa, and PayPal in third place, and in fourth place, American Express. You can see that between 2020 and 2022, there was a big spike and a big hype with regards to the share price of PayPal. But since then, at the end of 2022, beginning of 2022, it has come down to earth. It has come down to reality. Because at the end of the day, the share price will always revert back to its intrinsic value, regardless of the hype during a specific period of time for whatever event. Eventually, the price will always revert back to its intrinsic value. And that is a good lesson for us as investors, that we must focus on the fundamentals of the business rather than short-term price action or short-term price hype for whatever reason. So never forget that as an investor. Now, in terms of intrinsic value of the business, I'm not going to show you my method of evaluation because that is reserved for paying members of iBhuku Lomnotho Playbook. But I will tell you this in this free video that the intrinsic value of Visa is between, in my evaluation, it is between $210 to $231 per share. And currently the share price is sitting at $233 per share. So Visa is currently at its intrinsic value, it is at its fair value. So what does this mean? Will I buy now? No, I won't buy now. Even though it's at fair value, I won't buy because I always like to buy when a business is selling at a discount. And also, since I own shares of Visa, I will play hard to get. I will only consider buying to the share price come down all the way to $178 per share. Will it get there? We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Anything is possible in the markets. Now, even though Visa is a great business, it has some risks. No matter how great a business may be, there will always be risks associated with that business. And with Visa, I identify two. Number one, Visa is moderately cyclical in nature. Visa's revenue is dependent on the amount and number of purchase transactions made by consumers. This in turn is dependent on economic growth, which means during recessions, Visa's profits are negatively affected. And we saw a good example of this during the 2020 economic shutdown, where resultant profits were much lower. So it is moderately cyclical, and its performance will be slightly affected by the performance of the economy. So if the economy is doing well, Visa will do well. And if the economy is not doing so well, it's slowed down, there will be impacts on profits. But as we saw earlier, even though there is an impact, but it is slightly soft because it is moderately cyclical. The second risk is the antitrust lawsuits and fines that Visa and MasterCard are prone to. Visa and MasterCard are prone to class action lawsuits due to their alleged duopolistic practices. Over the years, they have paid substantial fines and remain at risk to stringent regulation by regulators. And the latest fine that they were commanded to pay was a 5.6 billion settlement, which they had to pay several retailers who sued them for allegedly improperly fixing credits and debit card fees. But for me, this is not something of great concern. I think both these risks are manageable, and I don't see them impacting their bottom lines in a serious or major way. So for me, these are not too serious a threats. They are quite manageable. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, parts 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I hope you are more informed now about Visa as a business. And I hope you can see the value of these videos and the value of Ipogolomnotho Playbook. So don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with your friends and families so that they also learn. I also encourage you to be part of our community of Ipogolomnotho Playbook by being a monthly subscriber. Thank you for your time, and I will see you in the next video.